All right, out here at the field, watching the boys do some little flag football tryouts. Now what we see here is these are all boys. Got the parents. Got some more parents over here. You know, you don't see any girls. Not saying that girls can't play flag football, but of other things that boys could do. You know, and the thing is, when we are making these videos, what we are usually doing is mentioning that there's a problem with black boys and that the black boys are becoming more effeminate. But generally speaking, it is all boys because black people happen to be the trend makers, and whatever they do, the rest of pop culture seems to follow because they're that appealing, even though you want us to believe that they're not desirable. But the fact here is that you have the boys practicing flag football, and then what we have here is they're learning some teamwork ethics, some cooperation, you know, and then there's a lot of spiritual, I can't really say spiritual, but some athletic rules that they learn to take into their life about challenges and so forth, right? I remember when I was a kid, they used to have this magazine called Boy's Life. Yeah, Ranger Rick or something like that was a raccoon. This is before they told us that raccoons are vectors for rabies. You know? But, you know, these are some of the things that, yeah, look at that. All right. You know, these boys look to be like they're, I don't know, about 6 or 7 years old. You know? All right. Oh, nice. And she shook that guy right there. That's cool. But, you know, well, basically what I was saying was that, you know, there are things that we can do to enhance the masculinity in boys, because what we're doing is we are, hold on, did I do that? No, I can't do that. I got to straighten up the, what we're doing is we're blaming the food, you know? We're blaming the food. I mean, there may be extra hormones into the food, but if they don't affect me, they don't affect you, then who are they affecting? Well, they're affecting feeble-minded people. Well, you know, that means there's more social programming in place. There's more social programming going on than being poisoned. And if they're tainting the food, they're poisoning you. That's technically what they're doing. But there's more social programming going on for you. Now, for women, you know, they become more aggressive and more masculine and more assertive because there's no penalty for being hyper-aggressive. As a matter of fact, the common culture, the general public, would tend to respect them for being hyper-aggressive. But for the men, there's no reward. And so you're being socialized to be more girly, and then there's no reward for staying masculine. You know, I was in an interchange with Minister Faust. You know, he's a sci-fi, black sci-fi fiction writer from Canada. And so, you know, the women got on his page and they started talking about feminism. And I said feminism was a lark. It's a fraud. All you're doing is training women to be whores. And it may sound harsh to some of you, but examine your interactions with feminists. And I mean contemporary feminists. I don't mean traditional feminists. What is the ideology of traditional feminism and that of contemporary feminism? Right? Everyone says they want equality, but when you look at what you really want, what you want is preferential treatment. You want preferential treatment under the guise of equality. You want favoritism for you, and you want set-asides or setbacks for the boys. And so what you see now is that the boys, they are not finishing school. They're not going to college. They're not going to graduate programs. Now, if to the blind feminist, it makes sense because, to the blind feminist, it makes sense because in her mind, these women are getting an opportunity, but overall, they're getting an opportunity at a career. They're not getting an opportunity at familyhood or family life as many women want. So now, a lot of my female friends who have become all these established professionals find that there are no men for them to date. Or, well, there are men to date, but the men that they're meeting, they are, I'm not going to say substandard, but the men that they're meeting, they're non-competitive, or I can't say non-competitive either. What I'm saying is they don't fit they don't fit the same level of status and career trajectory that the women have. If all that you were considering was, you work in a white-collar position and you make a lot of money doing so. And that's what you see with feminism, because what happens is these women now have become, they've priced themselves out of the market, so to speak. They've become too proficient or too, it's very hard, it's not very hard to explain, but they're overqualified, so to speak. Now, would you want a woman that really doesn't need you for anything? I mean, I've got to clarify this more, so I'll make a part 2 where I clarify more of this, but what is your interaction with a woman where she makes all the money, she's got the prestigious career, or she's got the respectable career in quotations, and her money and the money that career affords her allows her to do all types of things? What are you going to do with that woman? Right? Because you're not going to be on equal footing. Because no matter what they say, the person that makes the most money is the person that runs the relationship, because that's the person that can make the decisions or the determinations to do anything. To live in this neighborhood, to buy that house, to buy this apartment, to buy that car, to buy these clothes, to go on these trips. All right? If you with a guy and he makes $27,000 a year, and this guy has a woman and she makes $95,000 a year, in most instances, this is going to be a flawed relationship. Because she's going to let that money go to her head, because the person, it's the golden rule. He who has the gold is he who makes the rules. So, what happens is, I really got to have an outline for some of these videos because I'm all over the road. But my thing is, to recognize the effeminization in boys and men. And the reason is because these guys, one of the reasons is because these guys, they're not either making enough money as an adult to become the primary bearer in the relationship, which leaves a lot of these women out in the cold without a mate. And I don't want to rock anybody's world here, but nobody wants no old woman. I should say that again correctly. Nobody is going to make the preference to select an older woman if he can pick a younger woman, because with an older woman, you're getting more experience and possibly more education and so on and so forth, but you're also getting more baggage. You're getting more more concrete or solid attitude, disposition. So what that means is whatever she inherited up until that point when you met her, she's pretty much going to be stuck with it when you got her. And also, for those of you that desire to have families, she may be too old to do that productively. So that's just something to consider. So, I'll go into more about this. And it's cold out here. Not that cold, but sort of biting with the wind. But I want to go into more about this. So I'll just, we'll talk more about the effeminization of men and the the hyper-assertiveness or aggressiveness in women, and how a radical contemporary feminism has ruined everything. And things you can do to get around it, I'm not really sure, but we're having a discussion here, so let's leave it up to let's throw some things back and forth. And I still forgot to tell you what happened when I was on False Page. I'll do that in the next video. All right, give me a couple minutes. I can go in here and sit in some heat, drink some apple cider, maybe have a corn dog. All right. Yeah.